So to the surprise of none, another Minecraft YouTuber is in trouble for their behavior. Today I'm going to be explaining a series of allegations made against a YouTuber called Skeppy, as well as talking a little bit about his response. Welcome to the Slump channel, everybody. Before I get into the actual crux of the matter, I want to quickly remind everybody that these are all simply allegations and that there's no real confirmation just yet. We shouldn't be persecuting YouTubers as viewers, especially when we don't know the whole story, and also when the story is simply a private matter. So the YouTuber in question is Skeppy. He has a couple million subscribers. He was on the Dream SMP because he was popular enough to be part of that, but he also stands alone as an independent creator for making 20,000 I Trolled Bad Boy Halo videos and also for doing some challenges. For the most part, he is fairly non-controversial other than a couple things here and there, but nothing overly crazy. So to get into the actual allegations at hand, the allegations in question come from two different people. They make kind of similar claims, and they overall just show a series of bad behaviors from Skeppy, mainly in a private context. So the entire Skeppy situation, so to speak, was all started by somebody called Seasire. I'm hoping that I say their name correctly, but they were a former moderator and a girlfriend of Skeppy. And this is the part where things get a little concerning, because they were originally a moderator on Skeppy's server when they were 15 years old. They didn't really talk until a bit later, and then they ended up forming a relationship. Everything that I'm about to mention also has screenshots as a form of evidence. They're not completely conclusive, but they should help Seasire's case if you choose to believe them. So the story starts around November 2023 when Seasire was 18 and Skeppy was 23. They had started talking more at the time, and it was mentioned that she was a mod on the server since she was 15. Seasire says that Skeppy gave them some extra special attention, so to speak, was double texting, made sure that she was involved in events and videos, and made her feel picked out and special. She says that in hindsight, it seems predatory, but that could just be a matter of hindsight, as well as the blemishes from them disliking Skeppy now. So the main part of the problem that they're sharing is around Skeppy's behavior, as I mentioned before. But in this case, it was mainly Skeppy trying to make them become more isolated from their friends. I've been a part of relationships where this has happened, and it's rough, but we don't know if it's actually true or not. She also claimed that he was manipulative in this section of time, mainly based on him making events and planning things and then changing things up last minute. I don't really know about that. Just from this particular part of the story, it doesn't feel like much to go off, but I'm also going to put up some screenshots from the document as we go along. Fast forwarding to May of 2024, they officially start dating. With the relationship in mind, it's been claimed that Skeppy tried to keep the relationship a secret, which admittedly is a little bit strange. She also claimed that he continued to try and isolate her from her friends and even tried to send an ultimatum where she had to quit or ditch a promising job so she could be with him. She apparently ended up actually leaving the job and claimed that he didn't help her try and find a new one. Continuing on from the year of 2024, her now has officially and very clearly stated that she thinks that Skeppy was emotionally abusing her. And the reason I say think isn't because I'm trying to discredit her, but is because at the end of the day, we're only hearing one side of the story. And I'm simply just telling you a summary of that side of the story. Please, if you want to form a proper opinion, go and read the document by yourself. So one of the parts of this was that he was very neglectful of her, allegedly, saying that she was left alone in an apartment while he prioritized other things such as streaming and getting food. Apparently she was doxxed as well at some point during this, and he didn't help her at all. She also says that in the relationship, Skeppy was also very dismissive or just completely neglectful of her emotions and how she felt. She would often try to communicate that and then be completely either shut down or just simply ignored by him. There's a couple of screenshots built around these points, but as we know, screenshots can be faked. And also, if somebody's crappy in a relationship, it's kind of a bit of a weird spot to publicize. I'll discuss that a little bit more in detail in just a little bit. So obviously, at this point, you're probably going to be thinking, wow, if the relationship was that bad and you were being treated so badly, why don't you leave? Well, allegedly, she did. But then every time she tried to really get away, she would get drawn back in somehow, whether it just be by her own unstable, her words, emotional state, or just any other reason. Again, this is a private matter at the end of the day. One of the ways that she was allegedly drawn back was because Skeppy would message her and would either be really apologetic or try and open up more or promise that he would do better. Now, apparently towards the end of 2024, she completely quit and ditched the relationship after he continued to neglect her and not be around for important events, whether that be something medical related, family, or just a general emotional crisis. So it's at this point in time that she claims that she really noticed and really understood that she was being emotionally abused. So, like any other realistic person does, she left the relationship. Now, before I get into the next one, I want to just give you my little insight here, which is the fact that this is a private matter between two people. So I think as a community, there's not much point in really diving in and digging deep and trying to find out private information about people, because frankly, that's not really fair. I'm not really sure if it's fair in general to be publicizing this. It's barely fair for me to sit here and be a bottom feeder and tell you all about this crap when I don't even deserve the views on this. But from the sounds of it, she very clearly believes that Skeppy was terrible in their relationship. And that could be 100% true. That could be possible. From all of Skeppy's videos, we don't know a thing about him. We just know that he's this enthusiastic Minecraft guy who entertains children. So it's a little bit hard to say whether or not you think Skeppy would do this. I mean, I think it's perfectly possible. It's perfectly realistic for somebody to be like that. It's a bit odd, but at the end of the day, if one of my friends told me a similar story about somebody who isn't a Minecraft YouTuber, I'd probably believe them. So again, just to be clear, these are just allegations. These are just stories being told about somebody else. And you can read the documents and come to a conclusion by yourself whether you believe that it's true. But the next person in the story is what makes it just a little bit more, well, concerning. So the timeline here is from about 2022 to 2023. And the only reason I'm mentioning this now is because the document came out after Seasire's instead of before. So in this case, the person in question, Kaya, was 16 and Skeppy was around 22, turning 23 at the time. Now, to be very clear here, and I checked with some of my friends to get their interpretation of the document, Skeppy was not directly accused of any form of illegal activity or like really properly grooming or anything too crazy like that. This isn't meant to attack him. The document isn't made as a giant, crap on Skeppy article. It's meant to be a retelling of somebody's personal experiences to act as a warning. So just please don't persecute the guy, okay? So Kaya was a massive fan of Skeppy at the time when they were 16. And by perceived luck of the draw, Kaya ended up getting some special attention from Skeppy across his Minecraft servers. He would invite Kaya to play and even give them permission to build on their Minecraft Hypixel housing world, which is like a shared creative-ish environment in the Hypixel Minecraft server. He also bought them gifts such as a rank on the server, which costs around $40 to $50. They were also apparently given some extra special treatment in one of his event videos that have now been deleted. So one of the things that Kaya was upset about, which directly ties into here, and I've been very cautious about my wording because I had to double check pronouns and everything a couple times, but Kaya goes by they, them pronouns. They've allegedly made that very clear on that profile and did so even when they were speaking to Skeppy. This is kind of where Kaya's problem begins with Skeppy. So within screenshots of Minecraft, you can see that Skeppy tends to refer to Kaya by more female-oriented words, as well as calling them pretty at one point. And at the end of the day, okay, it's a little bit strange, the whole age gap thing. It is technically legal, but that doesn't make it any less weird. And early on in 2023, he apparently was very adamant that they would have a voice chat, a little Discord voice call or something of some sort. And Kaya, who reportedly has a deep voice, was anxious to join the call for the first time. And after they eventually started talking and Kaya got a couple words in, Skeppy then apparently just retracted and was very adamant on not speaking to them, only using one-word answers and just, in general being kind of like a wall to speak to. This was apparently very bad for their self-esteem, which honestly, fair enough. Is it realistic? Yes. There is a little bit of proof, but nothing super direct or super confirmed. Again, it's realistic, but I need you to ask yourself, does this matter to you? Yes, obviously somebody can mess up. Yes, it's disrespectful to misgender somebody or use the wrong pronouns, especially when you know how somebody wants to be referred to. It's literally simply rude to behave like that. Does that make him somebody who needs to be cancelled? And that is a question that I think only you can answer. And I'm inviting you to leave a comment, to open the discussion and share your point of view on that, because I'm not qualified enough to really fully understand the pain behind that. But I am aware that it is just disrespectful. So the part where this becomes, a full circle is where all the speculation and the thinking and the interpretation comes in. Kaya was very obviously upset by this, the way that they were being treated, and the way that Skeppy would constantly refer to them as a girl, or the way that he would, retract after hearing their voice for the first time. But they also believe that Skeppy was trying to form an inappropriate relationship with them, even with the age gap in mind. I would never pursue a relationship with that age gap in general, just because I don't think people younger than the age of 20 are going to be at all compatible, you know? But whether that is your personal belief or like my, you know, dating preference, if you want to persecute Skeppy, and if you believe that Skeppy was in fact being inappropriate here, that's completely fine. And I pretty much agree with you. So after all this happened, apparently Skeppy just pretty much cut them out and just, you know, became super distant or, you know, ghosted them, dropped all contact, all the kinds of things that you could do, which is just frankly not nice to do to a friend. And through that, allegedly ruined the self-perception of a teenager. A lot of this is like consideration made in hindsight, but the two stories do line up pretty well. They do have consistencies between them, and, you know, that is a good thing. Now, before I give you like a final yappy rant, I will say that Skeppy did in fact respond, and which is why I've been waiting like a couple of days before I posted this video, because I wanted to try and like actually find a response. And he did. It was a very short response, and this is what he said. I'll put some subtitles on for you.
Also, I wanted to quickly talk about something. Someone shared a tweet with me today, and I just want to say it is absolutely not true. I would never, ever do those things, and I'm planning on making a full response in detail if I need to. But yeah, sorry for putting this here. I have just been inactive on Twitter, so yeah.
So yeah, Skeppy denies everything. He says that he didn't do it. He says that it's not true, and he's also willing to do a full response video if he really needs to. And he's done, you know, stuff like this in the past at Sunny V2. So hopefully, maybe he might do a full response. But at the end of the day, I want you to ask yourself, does he really need to? It is he said, she said, they said. One person has said that something happened and said, he was a really crappy guy in our relationship. And then he said, no, I wasn't. Which is also reasonable for him, not just because of his reputation, but also on account of the fact that somebody who behaves that way unknowingly would literally just not believe that they were that way. I have been crappy in my relationships in the past and didn't even realize it till years later, because that's just a part of growing up. And I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm just saying that if he's guilty, he might not even be aware of it himself. So yeah, I'm already getting tired of Minecraft drama. I think we should probably go touch some grass and do something else. I have a day job. I should just do that. But a YouTuber's private life, at the end of the day, is their private life. It's up to them. The way that they are around other people in private, similar to the Wilbur situation, is never going to be confirmed to the random public, which is what we are. So go ahead. I really encourage you to have an opinion, or at least know the facts before you speak. But just keep in mind that we are talking about people's private lives, and digging into this situation might be more hurtful to both Skeppy and the alleged victims involved. Keep that in mind, and maybe watch me stream or watch one of my other videos instead. Have a good day. I'm gonna go do something else.